Hey everyone, this is Ian Carlin. Welcome to a Mind for Fitness podcast. I'm so glad you could be with me today, where we talk about the issues regarding health and fitness, diet and exercise, and all that crazy stuff that goes with it, because we're all just trying to meet our health goals. And, part of the program here is to help you with that. We want to help you reach your weight loss and health goals, and we want to help you maintain your weight and health and your weight goals and your health goals. If you've already achieved them, we don't want to see you falling off the wagon and going and doing stupid and silly stuff, as we are all prone to do, which I've done in the past. We want to see you keep going. And part of the mental diet in which you want to do that is listening to podcasts that are going to encourage you. Podcasts like this one, they're going to help you in your weight loss journey. I know I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but it bears repeating, and that is one of the things that helped me when I finally decided to lose weight and lose weight permanently, was just, immersing myself in the fitness community. And that meant going to the gym, hanging out at the gym, watching shows on television regarding weight loss, getting into learning about weight loss, and listening to shows like this. And so this is my chance to give back a little bit, because that's what I want to do ultimately by creating this show and talking about stuff that frustrates me, stuff that I see in my clients, just stuff like that. So, I mean, that's what we're doing here. And again, update, still working on the book. I got to tell you, honestly, it's been really frustrating, because really the only thing that's not done is the introduction. And I sit down just about every day and open it up, and I look at a blank page and I just go, I don't know what I'm talking about here. I don't know what to say. Not that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I just don't know what to say as far as the introduction is concerned. The entire book is written, and it's going to be called Diet Sins: Why Your Diet's Failing and What You Can Do to Fix It. And so it's really frustrating, because again, it's really, really super close. And then at this point, it just has to go through editing, and I'm going to throw it up there as soon as it's all done, and the content will be free, and we're going to go over with it free here. But until then, have you bought the book on fasting to break the plateau? It helps us out, here. It's really the only way I have to support the program. I don't have any donations or anything like that, nor do I even ask for any. And the show is not big enough really to attract, at this point, a lot of people who are interested in sponsoring the show at this point. So, when that comes, I'll cross that bridge when it comes, but it's not here yet. So really the only way I have to support what we're doing is by you generous folks going to Amazon and getting yourself an absolutely 100% free book if you're an Amazon Prime user. That's right, free, called Fasting to Break Your Plateau, a guide to intermittent fasting, a basic guide to intermittent fasting, written by yours truly. And what I did to lose a lot of weight through intermittent fasting. So pick that up. And if you are not an Amazon Prime member, it's only $2.99. So, I mean, who can't afford $2.99? But thanks for being on the show. And I am going through the new book. So even if you don't pick the new book up, or you don't pick the old book up, I went through the old book too on intermittent fasting. Chapter basically talked about it and read it, because the most important thing, I really believe this, I really believe it's about helping people. It's about help. You will attract the people to you that you're supposed to attract to you if you don't sell out and you do what you truly believe in. I believe that wholeheartedly. So, so I did that with the last book. All I did was just say, hey, look, I'm basically going to read the book and talk about the book and talk about the ideas in the book. I'm going to do it with this book. And I've done it with another book that's almost done, but I'm concentrating on this one. So we'll let you know. We just got to go through the editing process, but it is it is done except for the introduction. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so we are on a series, and the series is basically what I just mentioned. This book, Diet Sins, what's going wrong with your diet, and why your diet's failing, and what you can do to fix it. Okay, and basically what this is just a collection of things that I've gone through and things that I've seen other people go through, where basically somebody starts a diet, and then they screw it up for one reason or another. And I've done that before too. Been on diets and messed them up. I've been on bad diets. I've been on good diets. Now, a lot of these, it doesn't matter what diet you're on. These are things that people do on almost any diet that messes the diet up. However, um, of course, I'm not going to encourage you to go on some type of bad diet. And by bad diet, I mean a bad model, which believes calories in, calories out BS. I'm talking about the type of diet the type of diet that is based on the hormonal theory of weight loss and will get you to your goals and actually help you lose weight. But even if you're on that kind of a diet, even if you're on a good diet, there are still things you can do to mess it up. It's easier to follow. I know that it's easier to follow. Believe me, a diet where you can eat, meat and fat and salad, and you can eat to your heart's content, or not to your heart's content, but you don't have to be hungry. And a diet where, you have to prepare 6 small meals every day and eat every 2 hours. And you know, it's harder to stay on that diet. It's easier to stay on this type of a diet, this low carb, paleo friendly, ketogenic friendly type of diet is way easier to stay on. But just because it's easier to stay on does not mean that we don't mess it up or that we can't fall into some of these traps. Okay. So that's what we're going through today. That's what we're going through in this series. We're going through each one of my chapters in the book, which I've named Diet Sins. And just basically breaking down why we fall off the wagon, why we stop our diet and go back to bad habits. So we go through a program, and so this one is I'm going to hit two more of them. And what we're going to be talking about today is number one, plateau and give up mentality. Okay, plateau and give up mentality. So you hit a plateau and you give up, basically. Okay, so hitting plateaus are one of the most frustrating parts of your weight loss experience. It can, if you are not careful, make you want to give up altogether. Let's face it, when you are doing everything right and you're still not losing weight, you wonder if it is even worth it. You might be saying to yourself something like, I might as well just eat all the foods I have been avoiding. After all, I'm not losing weight anyway. Okay. I know that this is what you might be thinking because I have thought the same thing myself on many occasions. I have hit a few plateaus during my weight loss journey, and every one of them made me want to quit. But I did not quit, and you shouldn't quit either. I pushed past them, through them, each one of them, and I'm currently experiencing one right now. And I've come out on the other side of each one of them, and I'm going to come out on the other side of this one as well. So like I said, I'm currently experiencing one right now where intermittent fasting really isn't doing it much for me. And if you haven't really gone back and listened to my weekly weight loss update, you need to do that because I talk about where I'm at currently and what I want to do. And you can listen to that on YouTube. So if you are inclined to go to YouTube and listen to those, but believe me, right now, and I just had a moral failing over the weekend. Not a moral failing. I shouldn't say that. It was a little too much cheating over the weekend, and it was brought on by this plateau, and it was brought on by discouragement, and I had to reassure myself of all the things that I'm going to talk about here on how to fix it. But it's frustrating when you're not losing weight, you're doing everything right, and you just, it makes you want to go back into eating whatever you want. But you don't want to do that. You can get past your plateau. Okay, getting past your plateaus are difficult, but they are possible. The first step is to overcome the mental attitude that would make you want to quit. You need to accept that you will hit plateaus, particularly if you have a significant amount of weight to lose. Personally speaking, when I hit a plateau, I push past it by reminding myself how far I've come. For example, I started my weight loss journey at about 300 pounds. I don't really remember. I don't really remember. I really don't know where I was. I've talked about this before on the show, but my best guess was 300 pounds, could possibly even be even more. I lost about 50 of those pounds, and that's when I hit my first plateau, was when I got down to about 250. And I didn't like completely stop losing weight on that first one. It just slowed down. It was like the first 50 pounds was just, I did the low carb thing and it was just flying off of me. I was just like losing, I don't know how much weight I was losing a day, but it was pretty easy to lose weight and keep it off. But then I hit 250 and all of a sudden didn't start losing. I was still losing, but it was like slow. But I just kept at it. I kept working out. I kept eating right. I kept doing it. And I eventually pushed past it. And I dropped down to 242 pounds. That was about my next plateau, as I recall. Now, this one was bad. I did not lose weight for months on this one. I wanted to quit, but I reminded myself of how far I had come, and also knew that while I was not losing weight, I could always gain weight again real easy and go back to where I started, and I didn't want that. And that thought petrified me. Lost, more than 50 pounds, and I didn't want to gain it back. I never wanted to get back to where I was, so I just stuck with it. And then another thing that helped me was by remembering that I was much healthier also. Okay, so that also kind of played a factor in me keeping going. I just remembered, look, I'm a lot healthier. I had all kinds of problems. And when I lost like 50 to 60 pounds, a lot of the health problems started to diminish. I was having acid reflux, low on energy. Just a lot of problems that were starting to dissipate, and I didn't want to go back to the way that felt. So the first time and this is basically what it's going to have to do with when you get to a plateau, you're going to have to change things up. And believe me, again, I know because I'm trying to change things up right now. So the first thing I did when I hit this plateau where I wasn't losing any weight is I started carb cycling. I started just it was basically like carb night, Yeah, I kind of did this more accidentally, just like eating carbs here and there and then going on a low carb diet, then eating carbs here and there and going on a low carb diet, kind of jolted my system. So I got past the 242 pound and stopped again at 238 pounds. What I did there was I just kind of adjusted my workout a little bit and kind of almost incidentally just adjusted my workout. And then I dropped down again. I broke that plateau and I dropped down to 232 pounds. And I was there for a while at 200. But what's interesting is when I got to 232 pounds, even though like I had noticed and people around me who knew me who had seen me kind of, they noticed, but people still weren't saying anything until I got down to 232. And then people were like, man, you're looking good, man. You're looking thin. What are you doing? They would ask me that. Then I was stuck there for a while at 232. And for some reason, I just couldn't break into my 220s. And then I discovered something else, that it's not just carbohydrates, it's the quality of the food you eat. And so I gave up aspartame. I gave up diet soda. And as soon as I gave up diet soda, within just a matter of a few days, I got down to 227, and I stayed at 227 for a long time. Um, then unfortunately, I started gaining weight again. I got down to 227, and then I started gaining weight again, and then I got to 240, and I was just like, hey, there's something wrong here. So I went on intermittent fasting, and I've been doing intermittent fasting now for a long time. And intermittent fasting got me from 240 all the way down actually to 203 at one time. From 240 to 216 solidly got me down, but from 216 down to 203, that intermittent fasting was part of it. So what's the lesson here? Don't give up. Okay. There are many times, and the only reason I tell you this is because I identify with this mentality, this give up mentality, this plateau and give up. There's so many times, so many, like I just mentioned here, so many plateaus that I've hit. And right now I'm kind of going through this weight gain again. I got down to 203, and I was settling in there maybe about 208, 210. And then I started my weight started creeping back up again. And it happens. So I'm on a campaign right now. I'm not going to give up. I messed up this weekend, but you don't give up either. If you mess up, listen to the previous podcast, because the previous podcast is all about what to do if you mess up. So don't give up. Keep going. You can make it. I've made it past many of them, and you can too. Okay? Remember how far you've come. Remember you can always get fatter. Remember how much healthier you are as a result, and you don't want to go back there. All right, I'm going to take a quick drink here. Hang on one second, folks. All right. Now, this next one is one that I see a lot with people, and it's a major problem. And that is not getting the help you need. And let me be real clear at this point. Everybody needs some kind of help. Okay, if you're overweight and you're struggling and you're trying to lose weight, everybody needs some kind of help. Often we think of help in major terms like professional help, a coach, a personal trainer, some type of accountability group such as Overeaters Anonymous. Now, for some, this may be necessary, but for others, help may come in other forms. Okay, for example, in my case, I did not have a coach or join an accountability group per se, but I did get the help I needed. I started, like I said, listening to motivational speakers on weight loss, listening to them very frequently, almost every day. I started listening to podcasts on diet and health and fitness. Another thing I did was I watched reality shows that featured overweight people getting healthy. I watched these shows even when I disagreed with the advice they were given by the health experts, but it inspired me. So you get like The Biggest Loser, which I don't agree with their protocol, and most of those people regain their weight. But for me, even just watching it still immersed me in the industry, and so that gave me the help I needed to say, hey, I'm not going to do that anymore. All right, I also decided that I wanted to be a coach in the area of health and fitness, and this motivated me too, because I have to be the example, so I started the podcast. But I have to be an example on the podcast. I have to be an example to other people as far as health is concerned. So I show up at the gym every day. I do my workouts every day. I make sure I eat healthy, or eat what's on my diet. So, with the exception of messing up. But I wanted to be an accountability coach, so that helped me. This is the help I needed, and this is the help that I reached out for and I got. However, others may need to dig a little bit deeper and get some kind of professional help, okay? This was the case for a lady I got to know over the years, and I used to frequent a restaurant she regularly managed. And anyway, I got to know her over the years. Like if you hang out at places, like I hang out at coffee places sometimes. I go to restaurants normally. the same type of restaurants, and I get to know people, and I'm very friendly, so I talk to them and stuff. And so I got to know this one lady, and she was in seriously poor health. She had diabetes. She was, overweight. And I got to know her a little bit, uh, and she was telling about how she lost her parents and all this stuff through heart attack and diabetes. And my heart went out to her because I know what it's like to be overweight. Um, well, uh, well, I didn't have the problem she was facing. I knew that if I didn't change the way I was doing things, I was certainly going to face those diseases in my near future. Because I often, would go there where she worked. I got to know her, and she got to know me, and she knew that I was in the health industry. Okay, she knew this about me. This talk, and on several occasions, I offered her my company service, Advanced Weight Loss Resources, and she repeatedly declined. So she'd always say, "Oh, yeah, that's very nice. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I need to, da, da, da." And then, it'd be like, "Oh, I'm starting this diet or I'm starting that diet." And I was just like, "Oh, really?" Now, uh, now, on occasion, after months of not losing weight, she would come to me, and I told her about, the new diet fad or plan. She would tell me about the new diet fad or plan that she was on, and she'd be interested in it, but eventually I just withdrew, and I would just say, "Oh, that's great, that's nice." It She needed to get professional help, and she didn't. If you're one of these people who you just can't make it, and you've tried it several times and several times and several times, you need to get help. Okay, you need to be honest with that. You need to get help. And she continued to fail. I don't really go to that restaurant that much anymore. She was a manager there. I have no idea where she's at, but I'm going to guess that she's in the same state that she was always in. It wasn't the diet, it was the fact that she needs help. She needs help getting to the place where she's had enough. And that's part of what my training in neurolinguistic programming does. It helps you get to that place where, you just said you've had enough. Um, Another friend of mine could have really benefited from professional help. He was about 100 pounds overweight. In addition, he too, both of his parents died due to complications of an unhealthy lifestyle. He is to say that the disease had took them, could have been cured. Unfortunately, they just ate themselves into an early grave. In addition, his children were starting to show some signs of metabolic syndrome. And he's another friend of mine who's seen me lose weight. And at many times I offered him help. I said, "Look, um, spend the money that it takes to do the counseling." A lot of my clients, all they do is they do 3 sessions of counseling, and in those 3 sessions, I don't see them again. I think I just ran into one. I may have mentioned this before, where he did the initial 3 sessions where we just break down what actually makes somebody fat and the mental attitude, and then we go through a workout and talk about a different kind of workout. And then I didn't see him for a month, and in a month he lost 26 pounds. It's so worth it. Don't tell yourself you don't have the money. Okay, so if you need help, get the help. I'm afraid of both these people, my friend and this lady who I know is a manager. Both their parents died just by eating themselves into an early grave, and his future isn't looking good either, and his children's future aren't looking good. So what can you do to fix this? Well, this is another case where you have to be honest with yourself. Okay, you have to be honest with yourself. If you are honest, then you will be able to assess yourself accurately and determine the appropriate level of help that you need. Perhaps you're one of these people who only need constant input through books and lectures and podcasts and things like that. If you're one of those people, awesome. But be honest with yourself. Perhaps you need someone to help you on a more professional level. Only you can make that determination of what level of help you need. But don't be naive if you need help. If you really need help and you've tried and you failed and you tried and you failed and you tried and you failed, it will often help if somebody can help you get outside the box. And with these techniques that I've learned through neurolinguistic programming to help you overcome your specific challenges and really realize um, the steps that you can take even on your own. It really doesn't take that long. So, but that's when I see a lot. It's a big one. It's just people not getting the help they need year after year after year. People who I know just like, oh, well, they don't look any different this year. It's like, well, oh, I got New Year's resolutions. Well, what's different about this year? If nothing's really different, if you're not doing anything really different, I mean, can you really expect a different result? So please get the help you need. Okay, whatever level that is. We're always welcome to help you at advancedweightloss.com. Oh, sorry, advancedweightlossresources.com. You can reach out to me there. And we're small enough at this point where the coaching that you get actually comes from me. So those are the two for today. So thank you so much for joining me on a Mind for Fitness podcast. If you like what you heard, please do me a favor, write a review in iTunes and share this on your favorite social media. It really helps people know. And if you want to do me a personal favor, please go to YouTube and subscribe to A Mind for Fitness. It's crazy because I have not really pushed my YouTube cred up until real recently. My podcast on the audio gets, I'll get like 3,000 downloads a month on audio, which is, I mean, it's not breaking any records, but it's not a small amount by any stretch of the imagination. So it's kind of nice that I have that many, people listening, but I've got only like a few subscribers on YouTube. It's crazy. So if you want to help me get my YouTube cred up, please go over there. I'm doing stuff exclusively on YouTube and on Instagram. Oh, that's the word I'm looking for. So go to Instagram too, because on Instagram, I'm really kind of tracking these last few pounds that I need to get rid of to actually reach my goal weight so I can be an example. And I talk about my struggles on there and my struggles on YouTube. So go there, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. And you're always welcome to follow me on Facebook, Facebook.com/A Mind for Fitness, and Twitter @A Mind for Fitness. And I think that's about all I have to say. Yeah, I think so. So we'll see y'all again real soon. Until we meet again, please keep your mind on fitness.